So, is it possible to smile your way to success? Our guest on the Dream Big series today is Rains Wall. And Rains has been a friend of Brett and I's for a long time. But Rains originally, when we originally started working with Rains, he was playing drums for our group, Big Time Grain Company. And I remember he was going through just this time in his life where he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do. Should he move to Nashville? Should he try to dive into this market where there's so many musicians down there, or should he stay, in Kansas City? Or he was contemplating moving back to the East Coast with his parents as well at that time. But he took the jump. He consulted with a lot of people. He took the jump, and he ends up getting this job down there at a coffee shop, which is perfect for Rains. Because let me tell you, Rains is the guy. When you are showing up to a gig for the first time and you're getting ready to meet the promoter for the first time, Rains is the guy you want to send in first. So as you listen to this interview today, definitely listen to the words Rains says, but more importantly, listen to the tone. Listen to the inflection in his voice, the energy, the excitement, and you're going to hear that even in what some people would call a tragic part of some of his story today. So I am super excited to have Rains on here, and I hope you get as much out of this as I did, because I got a ton out of it, and I'm looking forward to any feedback that you would have as well. Rains Wall.
I have a weird time, because of the virus stuff, but yeah, I was actually just on the road about 2 weeks ago, and then we found out that I had appendicitis.
Really?
And I was in Reno. So, they just did a emergency surgery on me that night during the show, and the guys did an acoustic show, and I was just in the hospital in Reno, and they took out my appendix. And then they just flew me home the next day, and then they flew out a different drummer to finish out the tour. So that happened, which was had me home, for a while.
Yeah.
And then for a week and a half, and then the virus stuff has hit, and it's pretty much canceled the rest of the stuff for this month. We were actually about to play a show at the Ryman this upcoming Sunday. Yeah, in 4 or 5 days, and but they just canceled that and everything. So it's kind of a crazy time, but it's good though.
Dude, so that was 3 weeks ago?
I had to be right at 2 or 3 weeks now. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Kind of. It happened it was exactly 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So on the 3rd of March. Yeah, near the beginning. But yeah, straight up, had to fly home with my appendix taken out. So I was being wheelchaired all over the airports and stuff. And
wow.
flew home. And then, when you're planning on playing a show or being out on the road, I don't really have any plans when I get home, because I was planning on being gone for about 10 more days.
Yeah.
So I was about 10 days of just kind of hanging out, but then everybody else's tour started getting canceled and they started coming home. So yeah, it's kind of a crazy time in Nashville, because everybody that is in my circle of friends, we're all freelancers or musicians. And,
yeah.
Woo, man. It's kind of a crazy time because there's not a lot of paid time off.
No.
For hiring musicians. So we'll see what happens. But
so how did you know? I mean, what was the signs of your appendix was having issues?
I was sleeping on the bus that night, and I was tossing and turning all night. It was kind of painful, and I thought that I had eaten something for a post-show meal. We had wings, and I was man, I'm probably just feeling bloated right now, and just feeling super, gassy, whatever. And so I just thought it was that all night. And then I woke up at 6 a.m. The bus stops to get gas at a Love's or something out in Nevada. So I went and got all the gas X I could find, Tums and all these things. And I just thought it was gas. But then when I took those things that didn't go away, then I was all right, I'm going to the urgent care. And that's where they were able to do a CAT scan and blood work. And she calls me an hour. We're sitting in catering, eating food, and an hour before the show starts. And she just calls me and says, hey, you got to go to the ER right now. And I was an hour before the show, are you sure? She was yeah, I think it rupture and you just got to go right now.
Wow.
And And I was like, all right. So that's kind of one of the crazier moments I've actually ever had before a show. But
Yeah.
made it through the.
Yeah, you did. And you're still smiling.
Yeah. Still had a good time in the hospital. It was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I pictured you and the hospital staff and
Yeah, oh yeah. We had a good time, especially when they started giving me medicine that
yeah,
made me loopy.
the laughing gas. Did you have some of that?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was interesting, crazy, kind of a crazy time, but it was good though.
Yeah.
Uh,
Man,
yeah,
dude,
man.
it's so good talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you too, man.
I was sitting around thinking yesterday, before we kind of reconnected on text, but I was thinking before that because I was listening to some other podcasts and reading some other stuff out there online, and I was thinking, gosh, the most important thing I think I could do right now for me that's going to hopefully benefit other people is get people with a lot of light in their lives
Oh
back
yeah,
in my life.
yeah.
Um, and people that just they laugh a lot, they smile a lot, and then
Yeah.
I start texting like, yeah, there's the first one right there. That's the ticket right there.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I feel the same about hanging out with you, Chad. Man, you're the man.
So, well, I
Yes, you
appreciate that. I mean, I've
absolutely.
still got my appendix, so I mean,
Yeah, yeah. That was a big thing that we're in the hospital that we're joking about. Everybody that I could find, I was like taking a toll on like who had their appendix removed, and even I was like on the table, operating table, and they're like, "All right, so we're taking out your appendix," and I was like, "Yeah, you still have yours?" And then everybody's like, "Yeah." Everybody I talked to still had their appendix, and I was like, "Man, I'm so bummed." Felt like I wasn't in the cool crowd anymore, but it's all good. It's all good. It's kind of fun to think that I left a part of me in Nevada. There's a part of me that's still there, hanging out in a trash can somewhere. It's kind of
so
crazy to think.
so your wife wasn't even able to be there for the surgery then, was she?
No, yeah, it was.
Wow.
We were the thought if they weren't going to clear me for flying home, we were going to try to fly her out to hang out with me.
Yeah.
Because Reno, they have a bunch of like cheap casino hotels,
Hmm.
so you can kind of just find a $30 a night room, and we're thinking about doing something like that. But then the doctor was like, "Yeah, fly home, you'll be fine." And I was like, "Okay." So, and I talked to like even my health insurance people called me after, and they're like, "They let you fly?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I think I'm all right. I feel fine. But we're going to try to get Christy out there if I was going to be stuck out there for like a week or something.
All right, so I'm picturing the conversation here on the phone with Christy. Hey, babe. I might be stuck out here a bit, but
Yeah.
don't worry, because I've got $30,
Yeah.
and they've got these rooms, and if you they've got this little device next to the bed. If you put a quarter in it, it vibrates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Like I got $30. I could turn that into $300.
yeah, right.
The first night was
Just gonna
just
walk
like that'll
across the
dictate,
street, and we're gonna be rich.
that'll dictate how long I can stay there.
So, so
Oh
how
man.
did she handle this whole deal? I mean, that can be easy with you being across the, you know.
Yeah, it was hard it was definitely hard. Luckily, our tour manager, a guy named Cho, which was one of the best people ever. He's a really nice guy, really good dude. But he came with me after, like, I went to the ER, then they got me back, and then he showed up. He stayed with me through the whole process while the guys played the show and everything. He stayed to stay with me to make sure everything was okay.
Hmm.
So that was super helpful. So then he was basically in a group chat with like the manager slash owner of the band and Christy and everybody, just giving like updates to everybody about like what's going on.
Wow.
And it was kind of cool to see it, like a lot of even like the manager, the dude, that one of the owners of the band, Ben. He called Christy, and a lot of people called her just to like check in on her, see how she's doing, and kind of just keep her up to date and kind of fill her in with the plan and everything. Because I
Yeah.
was like, by the time I got off, I was super high on everything that they gave me. It took me a while to get down to get off that medicine. So yeah, the room was spinning, and I couldn't really like. I'll slur my words everywhere. And finally, they got everything. I slept it off, but basically, yeah, it was pretty hard for her, for all of us to be away from each other.
Yeah.
But luckily, Cho was there to kind of like bridge that gap and let everybody know what was going on. So crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just her, right? I mean,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
there's two there now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, yeah, we were so excited, man. It's crazy time. We weren't like 1,000% planning it out, but it
Yeah.
happened, and we're like, let's do this. Like we both wanted to be parents, since like for as long as I know, and I know for same for her as well. So
Mhm.
we're just like, man, we'll do this thing. And the lead singer for Sidewalk, the band I've been playing with, is also their wife. His wife is pregnant, and she's
Mhm.
due in May. So it's kind of nice that they're kind of doing it first. They're able to have a baby in May, and then we're able
Yeah.
to kind of learn from them and kind of see some stuff, and then we'll be doing September. So kind of a crazy time, but
Yeah, man. What
pretty
you
cool.
guys take the best pictures.
Oh, thanks.
I was like, literally goes like, man, those are awesome. You know. So, what did you set up a camera and then just let it start shooting, or did you
Uh,
actually hire somebody to do that?
well, we have a friend. He's a really good friend of ours. And he basically had access to this photo studio, and that's where he works out of a lot. And he's working on a lot of like headshots, and he does a lot of stuff like that. And
Yeah.
basically, um, he works with a guy that does it full time in Nashville, and he's like does some really sweet clients, like Justin Timberlake to all types of people.
Oh.
And basically, he's working with that guy, so he's able to use that studio whenever he wants. And we called him up and we're like, hey, man, we need some photos. And he was like, come into the studio and I'll have some things set up. And so luckily, we had a really talented friend that loves doing stuff like
Well, they came out
that.
awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. It was a different way to do that announcement. We kind of liked it, though.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
fun.
sure your parents are stoked.
Oh, dude, so stoked. We've already gotten like 3 boxes of gender neutral clothing for babies. Like
What?
a lot of yellow and
Okay.
like tigers. I don't know. I guess or giraffes. Giraffes can kind of go boy or girl.
I didn't know that.
Random stuff like that. But it's great, kind of like reality check.
Yeah.
You start seeing baby clothing showing up at your house. And you're like, okay, there is definitely a baby coming here, which is pretty awesome. But my mom is like beyond stoked.
Yeah. Man, I bet. What? So, talk a little bit about your band. First of all, what's just so we get the spelling right? What is the website for the group?
Yeah, it's sidewalkprofits.com, I
Hmm.
think. Let me look it up just to make sure. Yeah, so just make sidewalk and then profit and
Okay.
instead not PROF but PROPHET.
Okay. Cool.
Um, yeah, one time the band for this big old festival created T-shirts, and Sidewalk Profits was the headliner, and it said Sidewalk Profit PROFIT, and it
Hmm.
like Sidewalk Profits like makes money. They're like, man, this isn't good.
That's
we,
funny.
we should probably change that T-shirt. And they didn't sell it, but anyways, yeah.
So a little bit about the style of group. What kind of stuff you.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So Sidewalk Prophets have been around for like, oh, maybe even I think longer than 15 years. They've been around for a while. They
yeah.
got signed about 10 years ago. They moved here on a song, and that they thought was a good song, and then they ended up putting it out. And what was it? They're doing a lot of like youth camps. They're a Christian band, Christian rock band.
Hmm.
They're playing a bunch of like, camps over the summers. Literally didn't have a band, so they put an ad on Craigslist for a band. Like straight up guys were just like, hey, we need guitar player, bass player, and drummer. And bass player saw it. He was finishing up college. It's kind of a crazy story, but I don't know the whole backstory. But basically, a professor at at Belmont was looking. It was like, hey, like guys, bring in some of your singles from some of the bands that you're playing with, and we'll listen to them. And then basically, I think one of his professors heard the song that the guy Sidewalk came to Nashville with,
Wow.
and was like, whoa, that's awesome. And then eventually, I think that's what led to them getting signed with a record label and a deal, and then they ended up doing like they didn't have a bus yet, but they were like doing Winter Jam and these bigger tours in a van, just like trying to keep up, And they did like 3 of those tours back to back, and it was just a busy time. And so they've been through it a lot, and then and yeah, basically that's kind of how they got started, and ever since then they've been touring a decent amount and just releasing music, and yeah, it's pretty cool though. But the country scene is really big in Nashville, and the Christian scene is really big in Nashville. So that's kind of what led them to moving to Nashville, just to kind of be a part of that and see what could happen with it. And yeah, man. So, but there's some really good guys. There's some really good intentional dudes, and 2 of the main guys are still in it. But one, Ben, has moved to being the manager of the band, and then the lead singer, Dave, is the other guy that they originally started the band. And the rest of us have been hired on. I've only been with them for about a year and a half. But the bass player, he joined off of Craigslist probably like 13 or 14 years ago now. And the other guys have been around for about 6 to 7 years. So year and a half sounds like a long time for me, but it's actually like in relation to all the other guys, I'm pretty fresh still.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, and so I remember, we had a lot of conversations before you moved to Nashville.
Yeah.
And you were trying to figure out if this was the right decision, and then you made the jump, you did it, and then you got that job at that coffee shop, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And you and I talked. I remember we talked on the phone. You were still at the coffee shop, and I don't know if you joined Sidewalk Prophets at this point, but we were talking about was it a good decision for a musician to move there? And I remember you saying, if you are a musician, yes, because there's a lot of work here. If you're an artist trying to get, noticed or signed, not such a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So working at that coffee shop, I mean, it's like you being around a bunch of nurses. Everybody's smiling, everybody's laughing. How'd that all go down? Where you were serving coffee and now you're in a tour bus.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I literally, so I was playing a lot of music when I was in Kansas City, and I moved to Nashville, and I didn't have a job, and I emailed these guys, and they actually emailed me as I was driving to Nashville, going like, "Hey, we'd love to give you an interview," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." So then, like 2 days later, I'm interviewing, maybe a day later. It was literally a day. I got in on a Sunday, Monday, interviewed at the coffee shop. They hired me on the spot, and I was like, all right, so I had something. But it was definitely like a weird thing. The first day of working at the coffee shop was like, I thought it was going to be amazing. And then I started realizing that I was like serving dudes that looked just like me. Like I was like, that was me, like sipping the cappuccino, like looking all cool, like working on some music stuff. Like that's what I did in KC all the time. And then now I'm serving that guy, and I was like, Lord, like, nah, like I can't be doing this. Like this is like too much. And then I got humbled really fast about just like, not having to worry about that, but just being like diligent with what you've been given. And I was like, man, I got this coffee shop job. Kind of shifted my perspective. I was like, yo, I'm gonna work the best I can at this. And but anyways, yeah, you kind of met all sorts of people there. It was kind of a crazy time because a lot of people, like there was a girl named Ruby that was just like getting coffee, and she was like, wait, you play drums? And I was like, yeah, I just mentioned that I played drums. And she was like, can you play to a click? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, I need somebody to play at my CD release show out in LA in like 2 weeks. Could you do a rehearsal just to see if this works out, and then we can fly you out if that works out? And I was like, yeah. So like literally that happened from making this girl a cup of coffee, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, man. And then it all just kind of like it was another night where I started playing with a guy named Rhett Walker, who is a Christian / country vibe rock guy. And he plays at the Opry a decent amount. And or he's like on the rotation about twice a year. And look, I was able to play with him one night, and it was like the biggest thing. It was like, whoa, I feel like I'm on a train going 1,000 miles an hour. But literally, I was still working at the coffee shop, and so that was a really um, fun dynamic of literally playing one of the highest moments. It's only like 3 songs, but it was still like, what's happening? To like the next morning, waking up like washing dishes at the coffee. And I remember just like being so thankful for that time because it just did nothing but like keep my perspective of like, man, that experience was awesome. But like, I also still need to be just the most diligent or like serve as well as I can with wherever I'm at, whether I'm there or if I'm just washing dishes for these other hip dudes that are walking in. And it was really good. I don't know, it's this really good thing just to keep your perspective because people in Nashville are always kind of like some of the nicest people are here, but they're always you can find guys that are always trying to like low key size you up, like, oh man, what have you been doing? Or like, you been busy, bro? Or, like, you been on the road? Or like, it's kind of like that thing all the time. It's easy to have that conversation because a lot of guys are traveling and a lot of dudes are doing stuff. So I mean, you can still have that with somebody that's like really just has good intentions, but some guys are just like, kind of like just trying to size you up if you're trying to see if they're like busier than you or whatever it is. So, anyways, it was kind of cool to keep that perspective with that, and I met Rhett through just like filling in at a church. I filled in at a church, and he was like, "Bro, you sound great. Let's go play some shows together." And then that's what kind of led to being able to play with him there, and then played with him a few times. That we played with Sidewalk over one summer, and then all of a sudden Sidewalk was like, "Hey, man, what are you doing for a Christmas tour?" And I was able to kind of move into that world with them. And it all started from just literally saying yes to filling in at a church 40 minutes outside of Nashville. And like 3 days out, and was like, I don't know if I should do this. And I was like, I want to do it anyways, and just say yes to this little opportunity. And then it turned into like leading the snowball effect of like where I'm at right now. It's kind of crazy to look back and see that.
Well, because isn't your now wife, wasn't she at that church?
Yes, as well. She was at the church that I've been trying to go to on Tuesdays, which is the Belonging. So I met her at church 3 days into moving into Nashville. So they basically have a Tuesday night service, and that's where we've been going regularly. That's where I met her. Because of Rhett and a lot of those guys were doing a lot of weekend stuff, and Sidewalk as well, a lot of weekend warrior stuff. So it's easier to make sure I'm able to go on Tuesday nights there. So yeah, kind of crazy, but I met her pretty fast, and then we started dating probably a couple months after that.
Yeah.
But crazy.
Yeah, man. She wrote that letter. She wrote.
Yeah.
Gosh, was that an announcement? What was that on, an announcement or something?
It was. I think that was she wrote our story on thenot.com. It was like for our wedding, for just telling people about our story.
Yeah.
And Christy's such a gifted writer. She's like so talented. So it's kind of cool, but it's pretty sweet to see that. But yeah, I remember you reaching out actually or saying that somebody saw it. Can't remember, but
oh yeah. Yeah, I saw it. I'm like, okay, she knows Reigns. This is good. She knows exactly what she's getting into here.
That's awesome. Yeah. I actually had a couple of friends call me and tell me a similar thing, and I was like, all right, sweet. That's good news. That's good news.
Yeah. She well, I lost that thought, but another one I had was so the pictures you post online of you playing drums.
Oh yeah.
The first podcast interview I did was a guy named Tim Sharon. We got off on the subject talking about that. Be careful what you put out there, because you want the image you want out there is where you want to be, not where you're at.
Yeah.
Which is it's an interesting thing to think about because
we're
not talking about a prideful thing or anything like that. We're talking about just saying, and this is what I get from like the pictures you post, because they're like these rear shots of you just being, you got your sticks up in the air, and there's like a huge crowd out there, and there's lights, and
Yeah.
that's where guys that are, or musicians that are wanting to do what you do, that's where they want to be,
Yeah,
and
totally.
so they see that from your pictures, and
Hmm. That's so true. That's really cool to think about that in that way. Yeah.
and then
Right.
to contrast that, there's bands that put these videos up online, and I'm not talking about the ones that they're
Yeah.
just shooting with their phone in their house and doing little acoustic stuff. I'm talking about the videos of their band, and the sound is not good. There's nobody in
Yeah.
the crowd. It's an empty room, and you hear the
Yeah.
one little, go out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you're not helping yourself out here. Please stop
Yeah.
posting these.
Yeah, you definitely have to. Yeah, that's really interesting. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's kind of crazy about the intentionality that you kind of have to have with that. And you're right, it's not like a prideful or a something like that, but you want to be able to have something that is true to who you are and what are aspiring to be. But you're right, like what people that are also watching in, because they want to like they have a front row seat to like your life as well in that moment.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, and like for them to want to jump in and subscribe to what you're doing or what you want or what you're showing on there is a big. I think it's like a way to like welcome into your life for like a second. And when you can do that and they're jumping in and going like, whoa, this is cool. This is something that I would like to be a part of. This is something that I am enjoying right now. I think that helps a lot, especially as like a band or like a group, somebody that's trying to just like keep getting those like super fans or people that are just like on board with the mission and like with what you're doing. So that's good, man. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we had always, for those that don't know, you played drums with us for quite a while,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
we had so much fun with you. And
Some of the
I,
best days.
Brett and I just always talked about, it's like Rains is the guy that when you show up to the venue and you're walking in a venue for the first time, and there's going to be like a owner or a decision maker, sitting in that on the other side of that door. Range is the first guy you want through that door. He's the first guy you want that decision maker talking
Yeah.
to and seeing, and because you just
Yeah.
know it's going to go well.
I appreciate you saying that. Not every time.
Well,
I'll definitely talk to him.
yeah. Every time I've seen you,
Yeah. I appreciate that, man.
yeah, and so I know without a doubt your bands you're playing, and they've had to have seen this in you.
Mhm.
This had to there had to have witnessed some of this. Maybe not before they hired you, but not long after they hired you. When you
Mhm.
talk about super fans and what attracts a fan to a musician, it's that personal connection that
Mhm.
happens. Do you get a lot of chance, like when you're done playing, to get out in the crowd and talk to people, and you guys doing a lot of autograph signings, that sort of thing as well, or?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We have like a VIP situation, which is like a meet and greet before the show. So we typically do that, and then we'll go eat some catering, and then the show will start. Then after the show, we'll actually have like a signing line where people can just like we'll just sign for whoever
Yeah.
from the show, and we're able to like, hang out and meet people. And yeah, that's one of my biggest things. And I didn't do that from the beginning with Sidewalk because I was just a for hire guy. I still technically am, but since I've been with the guys for a little while, I'm starting to do more things like signing autographs and going to VIP and all that. At the beginning, I wasn't just because everybody's trying to figure out like, okay, is this guy going to be around for a while or
Right.
how is that fitting and all that. And so, anyways, yeah, it's been awesome. That's one of my favorite things about the night is just being able to connect with people, and because you're playing the same show every night, and you can figure out things to keep doing to do something different, or play a couple different songs, or like whether it's that, or like just think of different drum fills or beats for me.
Yeah.
But also, I can play drums in a way that connects with the audience, like how much easier is it for everybody else in the band to do that? Because I'm in the back, you know?
Yeah.
And my thing is like eye contact, or if I can connect with one person to get them to smile and air drum with me, or if I find somebody that's air drumming, I'm like, yeah, like pointing at them and stuff, or whatever it is. But like, there's like points in the show that like you can really kind of feel that. And then I'm also like really, I've gotten back a lot of feedback about just like people really feeling like, wow, like I don't really connect with a lot of drummers at shows, but I felt something there, you know, or like whatever that is during the signing. Um, just because I just have I'm just tired of seeing drummers that are just playing the part in the background that aren't really like connecting with anybody.
Yeah.
But I think that just helps. I think that a show is a connecting experience. Like people are there to get something. The band is there to put on what they've practiced and the songs that they've created, but they're also there to get something out of it too. It's like it's a mutual thing between the crowd and the band, and the better we can like make that a welcoming experience, I think on stage is like one of the better ways to like invite people in to be like, hey, check this thing out, you know. And Sidewalk calls it the Great Big Family. That's what their fans are called. But it feels like it's like a family thing. It's like, hey, thanks for being here and supporting us. We want you to be a part of this and welcome you into this. You're a part of this just as much as we are. And I really like that perspective a lot. And you see the bands that are like, this is us, and we're the cool guys, and we're not going to give y'all any time of day. Like, get on the, maybe do a sound check, then back on the bus, and then show yourself for the show, then you're back on the bus. And, you don't really meet anybody. And it's like, that can be fine for a little while, but then I feel like for me, I realized like, wow, this is so like introspective. Like we're just so in our own little bubble, and we're not affecting anything around us other than the songs that we play, and that's it. And it's kind of cool to be able to pour into the people that are at the shows as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so now that we're in a quarantine,
great.
What is Rain's going to do with his time to keep that connection up to your family and your band and the people in the crowds? And what do you have any plans for that?
I've been trying to think of some stuff, but basically, still trying to figure that out because a lot of it, I'm wanting to call people, and I have been just like calling a lot of people just to like catch up, just to be like, hey, what are things like in your city, or like how are things going with like close friends and family, and Sidewalk I think is working on a little bit to be able to have some posts to be able to put out just to keep connecting with people. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit right now, just because it's like such a weird time. Like I love teaching drum lessons, but all the schools are out right now, so a lot of people aren't doing lessons. So there's a lot of things that aren't really like lining up because of this virus situation. But yeah, whether it's like just putting out some drum videos or just like some ways to like keep the conversation going, I think there's some things that I'm thinking of right now, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Well, so you've given drum lessons, and have you done it online already?
Yes,
Okay.
I have. Yeah, I've done some, and that's probably what we'll end up doing. Sorry, that's my phone. But yeah, so basically, I started with a student out in New Jersey. I was just setting up one day, and I could tell he played drums, and he was like, we were about to do a line check on all the mics, and I was like, dude, so get up there and hit those things, and it really made his day.
Yeah.
And then that led into me being his drum teacher. His mom was like, man, we're looking for a drum teacher, but nobody knows how to teach how to read music here. And so that's where like that kind of started, at least with the online students. And so yeah, I got a couple guys, probably like 3 or 4 students that are on and off online, which is that's pretty helpful to be able to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Even though we're at home, kind of thing. But yeah, so doing that, and then I got a couple guys that are here in Nashville too. There's a drum shop called Nelson Drum Shop that I've been teaching some lessons out of, which has been nice. But yeah, man.
And then you're set up to track drums as well, at a studio.
Well,
yeah.
Yes. So basically, it's kind of a funny thing. I had a home studio in our house, and but basically we moved 4 months ago to be in an apartment. So now I'm in an apartment, and as a drummer in an apartment, it's not the best mix. But for us, it was just like closer to where we needed to be in Nashville, a better like place, and a
Yeah.
lot better for rent right now. And we're like, all right, let's do this thing. But I do have the old house that I lived in is around the corner, and that there's like a full-on studio where I used to live,
Hmm.
and I'm still good friends with the house engineer there. So if I were ever needed to get into something, my thought was like, man, that's so much better quality than I could create in my basement, anyways. Like
Right.
when I did have my house, so like might as well just move closer to that, and then, and then just kind of go that route if I needed to actually do some tracking. But I'm actually hoping to head over there a little bit because everybody's canceling sessions, everybody's canceling everything. So
Yeah.
he's just kind of over there hanging out. So maybe we can go make some fun stuff and do something. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, man, crazy.
Well, dude, this is good. This has been
Yeah.
great. When are you coming back to Kansas City at all anytime soon? Or
Oh man, I hope so, man.
yeah,
Really want to. Yeah, that's like Christy and I both have good friends in Kansas City, even from when she before she moved out to Nashville. She was in Texas, but she still had a lot of friends in Kansas City, and then I did as well. Obviously. So we're trying to figure out a good time just to like go back for like a weekend or
yeah,
a couple of days and just be able to hang out. And got a couple, got a bud that has a little girl, and she's getting older. She's like 1.5 now, but it'd be fun to see her and see some friends and all that. So
yeah, man.
kind of maybe once this virus thing kind of goes away, we can,
Yeah.
or at least kind of gets figured out a little bit. We can head that way. That would be awesome.
Well,
But
you're always welcome here, and we keep extra hazmat suits in the closet.
yeah,
So
everybody's buying toilet paper, but you guys are buying hazmat
we
suits.
are, yes.
The best way to do it. That's what you need.
Yeah.
You can use anything for toilet paper.
Long term thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. How are things with Big Time? Have shows been postponed, canceled, or anything? Or
Yeah, we've had a few canceled and postponed, but honestly, I can't complain. We
yeah,
we have a lot of stuff scheduled this summer that I personally
good.
think is going to be fine. Um,
Yeah,
Brett and I have so many projects we're working on right now
good.
that
Come on.
are, stuff we can do from home. And so we're just busy,
Yeah.
I think the thing for me is just to stay connected for me. I mean, that's
hmm
the reason I wanted to get you on here and talk to you and,
Yeah. Yeah.
just get outside my house, go walk around and go hang
Yes.
out with the kids and Tammy and everybody.
hmm
But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff happening. And
Yeah. It's like, man, some of these days I've been staying here, I've been working on writing songs like online or like on Ableton and whatnot. And
yeah,
it's been awesome. But man, I've been like, 4 hours, 5 hours just doing that. And then I'm like, whoa, I haven't talked to a human in a long time. So,
it's time.
and for me, that's like a big stretch. So,
Yeah,
but 'cause I was always talking. So I just start talking to myself. It's weird. So I gotta find people too.
next time that happens, just hit record
Yeah, yeah. Just send it out.
and send it to me.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. Oh man, that's good, man. I'm glad that you guys are staying busy doing stuff, and it's the best way to do it, honestly, or to be able to do stuff from home and keep busy with some projects like that. That's what's good for me too. So
Yeah,
it's awesome.
right on. Well, dude,
Yeah, man.
anything you need, let us know.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely,
and
man. Same for you guys, man. Yeah, give me a call anytime. Want to see keep me up to date with what's going on in Kansas City too. We
yeah,
haven't like completely shut down like restaurants or anything yet, but they're advising us to not go out.
yeah,
But we're thinking that's probably going to happen soon. That
yeah,
just happened in North Carolina, and states around us are doing it. So
yeah. Pretty much here too.
really,
Yeah. So,
God, so crazy, man, so crazy. But yeah, man, well, I appreciate you, Chad.
yeah, you too, buddy.
It was a
So,
lot of fun. We should do this more often.
yeah, man. All right. Tell everybody hi.
Okay, I will. Sounds good. You tell everybody hi too from
All
me.
right. Thanks,
Yeah.
bud.
All right, yeah, man. See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to this interview with Rains. I definitely appreciated it. I know he does too. And so, let's show appreciation to him by just supporting him online. You can find Rains at rainswall.com, as well as with his band, sidewalkprophets.com. And we're going to have those links in the show notes. But once again, just find people like Rains to surround yourself with. And surround yourself with those people as long as you can until you become that person. We all need more lights in our life, and we need to be a brighter light for others. And this is your opportunity to do that. And thank you again for listening to the Dream Big series.